Alright, so Dave, knife talk. My first question is, what kind of an arrogant prick buys a knife that expensive? But the big question, do you think you're better than everyone?
No. €726, I know some people would say absolutely fucking crazy. And yeah, if it wasn't a Christmas present, I wouldn't have it. So there you are. Quality is just unbelievable. I show it off to everyone. Everyone.
But not everyone appreciates it.
No, I'd say 99% of the people don't appreciate it.
No. It's a very unique thing, especially when you put this one beside it. Now you ask the average person that comes into the shop to tell the difference between those two.
Yep.
The only difference they're going to see is the price tag.
Yep.
And that's it. And then they're going to think you're absolutely out your fucking mind. Yeah?
€700 difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could buy this with this change in 700 from that, yeah?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
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 Goddamn.
Yeah.
What is a pocket knife? It's a secondary tool, right? It's something you have in your pocket for small things.
Paracord.
Yeah.
Stripping sticks.
Slicing.
Feathering.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Slicing your potatoes.
Yeah.
In the kitchen. Opening mail. Opening packages.
Yeah. A utility knife.
Yeah.
Well, I have one of them too.
A secondary knife, yeah.
Yeah.
So, let's just get into it. I mean, you have to care to everyone.
But I didn't get this knife as a utility knife.
What?
I
What did you
didn't.
get it for?
I got it as a Christmas present. I got it for the quality, the workmanship, the I suppose the crafts person behind it.
Yeah.
That's why I actually fell for this knife.
So
And that's the key. I fell for it. I'm a magpie. Like any good collector, see something shiny, buy it.
And the fact that it's limited appeals to you.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
There's only 1,000 in the world, you have one of them.
I have one.
So it's something special.
Yeah.
And you see that, I think that's more and more predominant now in the knife world. No disrespect, but people want to have something better than everybody else. Do you think that's kind of schoolyard politics?
Not really. I suppose it's the collector in you. You know, it's I suppose anyone can have any other knife. Do you know what I mean? There's only 1,000 people in the world will have one like this.
Right. Well, we were talking about price, okay?
Yeah.
So you have to remember now we're in Ireland, so things are more expensive than America. That's one of my big peeves.
Yeah, we have transport cost, import cost, VAT, everything. Yeah.
So when somebody says about being on Amazon for cheaper, I just automatically switch off.
Yeah, Amazon would be one of the.
It's a non-argument for me anymore.
So
you're right. If somebody quotes Amazon to me, it just ends the conversation, and I tend to walk away. Yeah, so that's just one of my pet peeves. It's going to be obvious.
I mean, you know, when you look at Amazon, they have a market in America.
Yeah,
you know, that's the thing.
And the guys are literally making €5-10 profit per knife.
Yeah, which is grand if your bedroom, if your back room, spare room sellers, and you're not paying any taxes or VATs or overheads or any wages. Wages, it's insurance. That's another, you know. So all of that has to come into play, you know.
So you cannot quote Amazon to me. It's going to get evident as we go on that you're the nice guy in this partnership. Then I'm the kind of not
and I need to be.
Right, we're talking about price. So we got this big, close to 800, and this one for 35.
Yeah, well, it's closer to 700.
Closer to 7. Okay.
Yeah.
But the point is, I think maybe a little bit unfair to the more expensive ones. You have to cater for every wallet.
You do.
It's kind of like reverse racism. So if a dude comes into our shop and he's a millionaire, or CEO of a company or whatever, why should we not have a knife for him?
Yeah.
Like, it's not disparaging the average guy who can't afford that kind of knife. It's just we're catering for a market. And there are people who would look at that knife and say, oh my god, I wouldn't bother spending such little money on it. You know what I mean? You're gonna...
Yeah, I mean, when you go from one to the other, like, I mean, this knife is €25.
Yeah, 25.
So, you know, we have people that will buy €25 knives.
Yeah, it's a starting point. A €25 knife is a starting point. It's somewhere to kick off from.
Yeah.
So
a good decent folder, something that's going to do what they want to do in the camp, or do what they want to do.
It'll cut and it looks cool.
Yeah.
You see, in the knife world, you always have to have fresh blood. So you have to always have the guy who's going to walk in off the street who's never bought a knife before.
Yeah.
And if you bombard them straight away with say the names, like here we have CRKT.
Yeah.
And this is
an excellent quality knife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a little bit more expensive. So there are guys who kind of balk at that and say, geez, I'm not paying €40, €50, €60 for a knife. So you have to have a starting point. So the guy who buys one of these will work his way up to a CRKT.
Yeah.
And he'll work his way up to the more expensive, and then
eventually he'll splash out on a custom knife.
The more he spends, the more he'll appreciate.
Yeah.
Here we have a K-Bar piggyback. This is a very affordable, good quality knife. I think they're discontinued now, so...
Excellent blade on that, actually.
Yeah. So, do you know, they're kind of stepping stones, aren't they? So you start off with the more affordable and you work your way up and up and up. And then you keep going and maybe you save up for this one.
Yeah.
And that's what I was trying to kind of get at, you know what I mean?
But I'd agree. With the Brous, it was a Christmas present for me.
Yeah.
But it was something that I wanted and I knew we could afford.
Yeah, well that's it. Your affordability is not my affordability.
This is a once a year spend. This is not, I get an old inkling on a Friday when the wage packet comes in and I have enough to pay it. Unfortunately, I'm not a lotto winner, and I have a moderate wage, so that's what I get. Like,
but even if you could afford one of them every week, like, and I was saying,
I probably wouldn't buy it.
The more affordable, we're talking about stepping stones and working your way up.
Yeah.
But another great thing about the €25 knives is it kind of lets you experience higher end knives design wise before you pull the trigger on more expensive versions. Now, this is kind of a contentious issue as well. This one is an M-Tech, but the design of it is a blatant copy of a K-Bar knife. K-Bar TDI. Now, it's blatantly. So some people mightn't like that, but I don't think it is copyrighted by K-Bar. But if you look at this, if I had seen this, I would have said K-Bar TDI. But it is in fact an M-Tech. It was designed by a law enforcement officer with K-Bar, and it's a self-defense knife.
Yeah.
So, much more expensive though than this. So my point is, if you saw the K-Bar, and maybe you liked the design, but maybe you didn't like the price point,
you could go for the M-Tech, does it?
So you can go for the M-Tech. It is basically...
Yeah.
I don't want to cause more arguments. It's basically the same knife. Now, the K-Bar will have better materials.
Yeah, no, it's not the same steel, it wouldn't be the same quality build, it wouldn't be the same quality handle, but
it's the same.
It's the same design.
It's the same knife, It's the same looking.
Yeah.
So it opens like that, and it's especially designed so. So here we have a K-Bar as well. Now K-Bar are known. So when you go up in price then from this to K-Bar, you kind of have comfort in the name. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So people know K-Bar. Now, these were both made in China. Well, this is Taiwan, this is China. These are basically the same.
Be very careful there now, Taiwan and China, two different places completely.
Do you think so?
I do, yeah. Well, I do know that the quality control from all these countries plays a massive factor in the actual quality of the knife itself. We do know that there is, like most companies are actually getting the stuff made in either China or Taiwan. But what it does, what the companies themselves do, is they actually enforce the quality control in the product. So if you're looking at a lower end knife made in China, and then what do you call a higher end knife made in China. The quality control from the company, the brand that actually makes them, would be different. Now, you could go with the conspiracy theory and say they're all slapped out on the one thing. We don't know, but they seem to hold up a little bit better on the higher end than they do on the lower. So,
well, my thing about Taiwan is I think they're very, very closely related to the Chinese, and in fact I would go as far as say that some of them own all the same factories. So if you look at something like this,
that's the old conspiracy theory kicking in.
It is though, but if you look at clones, right? Yeah. This knife was made in Taiwan, but the clone of it is coming out of China, and it is a carbon copy. This clone.
I would imagine they use the exact same programs. I'd say from one. Yeah, I'd say basically one.
So there's one time when these dudes calling up his Chinese cousin, and he's giving him the blueprints basically.
Probably. We can only speculate.
So that's what, and I think it's probably the company's fault as well for manufacturing out there. If you're going to give people access to your blueprints.
Yeah, but I suppose that's the risk you run for cheaper production, isn't it?
It is a risk, but I don't know. Then you have the whole made in the USA thing, and I had an argument with that on my forum on Facebook there.
Now, is it made in the USA or assembled in the USA?
Assembled. But I don't even think that there's a difference, because this whole thing of made in the USA, America is just another foreign country to us, So I don't like the snobbery. I think Chinese knives can be just as good as American made knives, and that's just my opinion. I think Taiwanese knives, even Pakistani knives, I don't think it's the country, I think it's the quality, like you said.
It's the quality control,
So there is some absolutely horrendous things that
if you look at some of the biggest knife makers in the world, the likes of Cold Steel, for example, like most of the stuff now is being made in China.
They went away from Japan, in the early 80s they started out in Japan.
But again, that their quality control would be above average when it comes to, because obviously that's what their brand is. It's the best made knives in the world. So
well, they say.
Yeah. But they do stand up to testing, and we're going to be doing a few.
But Cold Steel have kind of their ace in the deck in the form of Andrew Demko, who is their knife guy. He created the Triad lock, and he designed a lot of their knives. And I wonder, would Cold Steel be as good without Andrew Demko? And I don't think they would be,
Yeah.
So here we have some higher end, still affordable. The Rat 1, which is probably one of the most famous. Now you made a point about your Brous lasting forever in your pocket.
Yeah.
But I would argue that this Rat 1 would also last forever. I can't ever see this. Unless it's overly abused. Now, if you try to baton with it.
Yeah, well, you're not going to do that. Well, that's what you're not going to. I'm not going to do it with a folding knife.
I'm not going to, but it is done.
But people do it.
People do, yeah. At the last camp there, it happened. The guy broke his cookery.
Point in case, he broke his knife.
He broke it,
yeah.
So even though, and it's interesting, where's that Cold Steel gone? Even though the videos and all the Cold Steel, what they do to show how strong they are, if you read the small print, doing that voids the warranty.
Yeah.
So
well, I suppose obviously.
So
put 150 pound of weight on it is.
If you do anything that the Cold Steel do, you're voiding the warranty on the knife.
But they would argue the case that you don't have to do it because they've already done it.
You've seen it.
Yeah. It's the fact that it's capable of doing it doesn't mean that you have to test it to that extreme.
It seems to be in vogue at the moment. How far can you go before you destroy your pocket knife?
Well, I mean, if you have the money to spend on destroying pocket knives and you're that way inclined, I personally wouldn't do it, because what good is a broken knife?
What good, yeah. I don't understand it myself, but it is going to continue, unfortunately. Here's a CRKT as well. CRKT are a company that I'm not quite sold on.
Right.
I don't know. I just don't find them very satisfying as a knife lover. I don't know. What do you think?
The ergonomics of them, the feel of them, not really my thing.
Not really your thing, yeah.
No, you know, but it's everyone's personal choice, though, isn't it? You have people that would be CRKT fanatics.
Yeah.
You know, I personally don't go for them, but you know, there seems to be a good steel in the blade.
After spending that much money now on a Brous, do you think you're spoiled? As in, can you have this knife and love it? Which you do.
Yeah, I do.
So, have you kind of reached your pinnacle? Where do you go from here? Do you go back down the scale and buy a less expensive one, or do you go up the scale and buy a more expensive knife?
No.
Like, where do you go?
I tell you the way I am, and you know this as well, and anyone that knows me know. If I see something and I like it, I'll buy it.
Right.
The thing is, this is a spoil me.
Right.
That's what this is. It's a spoil me. It's a Christmas present. It's a once maybe in a year thing, or once every 2 years. That's what I'll buy, the nice knife, the one that really catches my eye, and the one that I've been coveting for a while. That's what this is. I you know, the custom feel to it, the bearings, just the workmanship in it. That's kind of the appeal to me. Whatever it is about it. But you know, I carry a K-bar.
You carry a K-bar?
Yeah.
But why don't you carry this? Why don't you carry that? What is it?
That's the K-bar.
K-bar,
as you see, it's scratched in KKT, the whole lot on it. That's what I carry. It's just an everyday use knife, nice and handy. Tightened it up there a few weeks ago, cleaned it up, and used it again. That's what I do. Sharpen it every now and away it goes.
So then, what is the point of this knife then? Why don't you put that in your pocket every day and carry it every day? Is it kind of a thing of got a scratch, be kind of heartbroken because then it's not?
Well, no, I'm not concerned about scratching it, because I have, as I said, opened tins of sardines with this yoke. I've done everything and anything with it. A knife, I feel, is to be used. So if you don't have them, if you have them on display and you don't use them, there's probably no point to them. I'll bring it to the camps. I'll bring it to wherever I go. It's a special one. It's a nice, you know, and I will use it. I do use it, and I will use it again when I get into the mood.
Right, and then, so you feel like you haven't reached the pinnacle in your collection, is what I'm saying. Would you spend more money now than this?
More money, I'm not sure. I haven't found that as yet that appeals to me.
So there's nothing on your wish list, so to speak?
No. This was the wish list up to this point, and I've achieved that. I'm looking at a few different ones, but they're nowhere near that money. Probably top end about €130.
Yeah?
Yeah.
As for me, my wish list is fucking hundreds long, so...
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, if you could go down to the argument too, is like, how many knives do you own and how many do you carry?
Yeah.
Do you know, it's when you look at the side with the side of knives, it's collectors, users, you know, that kind of thing. You don't carry everything you own.
No, it'd be impossible. I wouldn't have enough pockets.
Yeah.
And there are knives at home that I think I found a Strider in a shoebox in my attic a couple of weeks ago. That was just sitting there for years that I forgot all about. So I'm that kind of person that I just turn and burn, I buy and sell, and I rarely find one that just I keep forever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know, I think the chase is more important or more satisfying to me. Do you know, when you're looking at knives online or in catalogues, and then you have the money and you click to buy it now or whatever, and then you're waiting for it to come. I think that's probably the most satisfying thing for me.
For you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the hunt. It's the finding that rare thing. It's the, you know, trolling forums looking for people to sell.
Yeah, I understand that too.
I once got a
I covet though.
You covet, yeah?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. When I have something, I enjoy it.
That's it. You'll never sell it. Like, could you
I wouldn't say never. I would sacrifice to get something different.
Right.
If it came to a point where, you know, obviously I'm not a rich man, I work 2 jobs, have a moderate wage, and you know, I would sell that if I was to find something else and I couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be under pressure to sell it. I wouldn't be wanting something bad enough at this moment in time to sell that knife to buy something else.
So if a new gun popped up, say, that you really wanted?
I have my eye on another gun, I have been looking at a left-hand gun, because I am left-handed, and it's a rare enough thing, but I've found one, and it's somewhere in the region of €1,500. But I'd also need to put a scope on it, which is another 2,000. So
you could be selling your Brous?
I probably won't. I have other things to sell. I have a few motorbikes and tractors and stuff that I might sell off to raise the funds for my other pleasure, as they say.
But see, another great thing about knives is when you come up, they are commodities. You know, they're steel. At the end of the day, they're all still knives. So you could have your money in the bank, or you could have your money in your safe in the form of knives.
Yeah, the investment side of it,
Yeah, you don't even have to raise in value. You can buy something and sell it for less, and you can take a hit that way. But you still have money available. You can still sell the knives and get your money for whatever you want, or a bill that has to be paid.
Yeah,
and I've done that. I've only one knife that I regret selling, and that was a cold steel knife.
Yeah,
it was cold steel in the early 90s did a sprint run, like a test run, on a product called, I think it was the Tac-force, and they only did 20 of them, and it didn't reach their quality standards.
Right.
Because they were dangerous to lock on them, they were folding over. So they decided that they were dangerous, so they weren't going to run with it. And there was only 20 of them, I think, made, but 5 of them escaped being destroyed. And a guy in Kiev, in Ukraine, during the time, do you remember the upheaval? Do you remember all the riots in Kiev and all this?
Yeah.
This poor guy was selling his whole collection. And in that collection was one of these cold steel knives. And
you got it?
I got it, yeah. Because I was the first one to recognise what it was. And even the guy who worked for cold steel said, no, that's not a cold steel knife. Even though
he was denying it.
He was denying it. Yeah, he had to deny it because they were all
supposed to be destroyed. Yeah.
So I had one of 5, and then years later a bloody bill came up, so I had to sell it.
Ouch.
C'est la vie, yeah. But it's the only one I regret, because I think it's the only one I'd never be able to find again.
Yeah.
Because the guy that I sold it that's gone now. It's in his safe, and it'll probably never see the light of day again, you know.
Coveted, yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but
sadly, yes, the only one knife I ever regret having to sell. But other than that, I'm happy to turn and burn. You know, I don't really... Sentimentality, I don't know. I'll use knives, I'll have them in my pocket. I'll give them away as presents, you know.
Well, I suppose I have the added factor too that this brooch was a Christmas present.
Yeah.
From my wife. So.
From your wife?
From my wife.
But how did she pick that? With hints?
No, I picked it.
Oh, you picked it?
Yeah, no. I was asked out of everything what I'd like.
Yeah.
And because obviously it's a personal choice when you go to buy a knife.
You see, it is personal and it's down to your wallet, but every knife has a place. This is my thing. Every knife in the collection has a place. It doesn't matter if you think this is no good. It has a coolness, it has a thing, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's €25, yeah, it's funky skulls on it, and you know,
I won't deny that these knives have, because my son has them, and I have 2 or 3 at home myself, and I do mess around with them, do the whole thing, and they're fancied up, and we have some of the zombie range at home, we have some, you know, the other bits and pieces as you see, but they're easy to collect as well. When you're spending little money, it's easy to have a drawer full and to enjoy them like I'm doing now, you know. This is pretty much some guys, that's all they use. It's shiny magpie syndrome. It's, you know,
you flick them and you polish them and you enjoy them, and then,
I mean, how couldn't you like that? Like, I mean, you know, it's,
who are we to say that, you know, be a snob, oh, that's only a cheap knife. And the thing is as well, if all you knew was the Brous, right, if that was your first knife, if all you knew, if all you handled was this, could you appreciate it as much without having owned these?
No. No, I would say the quality when you work the Brous, when you use the Brous, the quality with the bearing, the feel, the ergonomics, the blade balance, the positioning, the carbon fibre handle, you know, the weight of it, everything about it, it just has that air of quality to it. You know it's well built, you know it's well finished. They know what they're doing, basically. And with that, if I didn't have this in my hand, I wouldn't have known that
how
this
good
was so
that
good.
is. Yeah,
basically.
You have to have the cheaper ones to appreciate the more expensive.
You do, yeah.
Or else you just think, if this was the only thing you ever experienced, then you think, hey, it's just a knife. So when you're working your way up, you have more of appreciation. And that's what I say to guys. And it's not unobtainable. You don't have to be a millionaire.
No, but you could go for a different Brous. This one is €350. Again, it's a limited edition. 1,000 will be made. But this one has just an edge to it. Basically, you don't flip it like a flipper, you push it in. And when it snaps, when the tension snaps on it, it's enough tension to flip open the blade and lock it in place. That, when you feel it, when you touch it and feel it, push it in and get it to snap, there's nothing like it. Do you know? It's not assist opening. It's basically tensioned to open. It's
pure engineering where this has a spring.
That's that's an assist open, whereas this is literally the tension of me pushing the blade, and when it snaps, when it actually breaks, it flips open with enough force to lock in position.
I really love that knife. If he said to me, take home one knife out of the shop, it'd be this one. I don't know what this one just spoke to me from the minute we got it in. I just really wanted it. And I just wanted it just for the sake of having it.
See, we got this one in first. And from the quality of the build on this, I started looking at Jason Brous as a knife maker and as the collection that's there. And then the one that stood out to me was this one.
And then, do you think it gave you a kind of a need to have other higher end in the shop, like Chris Reeves? I'm mad to get in Chris Reeves.
Yeah. Do
you think the market would be there? Would you think it's a gamble?
I would say if anybody would like us to get in Chris Reeves, just write it in the comments below.
It's a big outlet.
It's huge. That for us, you know, it's huge.
It's a big outlet.
We're in year 2.
Yeah,
you know, it's
maybe by year 20 we'll have a full.
Maybe.
When we went to Germany, do you remember? We met Chris Reeves.
We
met Chris Reeves' wife. No, his wife.
Right, sorry.
It was Todd Begg's brother.
Yeah, it's Todd. Yeah,
and Chris Reeves' wife.
Yeah,
and
that's right. Yeah. And very nice actually.
Yeah, I love them, and I'd love to have them. I'd love to be able to cater for that market. And I know there's guys in Ireland with Chris Reeves knives. I know it.
Yeah,
but again,
would we be warranted stocking them?
I think you would for the long term. I don't think they'd fly out the door as quickly as the MTECs.
Yeah.
These are going to be bread and butter. Like, lads come in and they drop 25 quid, no problem. Of course. That's it, gone.
Yeah, of course.
Not even a second thought now, thankfully. They come in and then they kind of think about the cold steel. You think about it, that's a bit more money. Yeah, maybe. But then the Chris Reeves and the knives that are costing 300 or 400, you know, you're not going to sell it. They're not going to fly out.
No.
But they are an investment piece, and they are. I never foresee them losing value, never, because they're going to be discontinued, and then if anything, they're going to raise in value. You know? So it's one of those things. I think Brous introduced us to the world of the higher end.
They did.
At the Kenny Knife and Tool, like.
Yeah.
And then we're just going to have to eventually take the hit, I think, and have Chris Reeves on our shelves and. Until we become known for them.
Well, with the support of our customers, I think we could achieve that. Yeah.
There is a knife for every guy. I read the other day that a guy bought a knife for 45 grand. So
45,000.
45,000, yeah.
I wouldn't pay that for a car.
Well, you wouldn't. You wouldn't. See,
I bought my house for twice.
No, but then there's
I'm not joking. €90,000 for my house.
But there's guys that's just pocket change. You know?
Wow.
So you have to cater for everybody.
Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more in the next video.